Hey, welcome to Cosmic Guidance for All. I'm Kira, I'm your host. Welcome. We're going to do a weekly forecast for April 16th today to April 22nd, which is Saturday. And I'm excited to get into it. I don't want to say apologies, but I feel like I have a sleepy voice today because I kind of just woke up. It was a later night than I expected. I just remember drunkenly making pancakes at 1 a.m. So, which kind of tracks for this Pisces moon that we're under right now. But before we get into the forecast, I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. Um, First, just to say thanks for tuning in once again. And sorry that this forecast episode is a little late. I'm still getting the hang of this. I don't have a producer, anyone helping me anymore with this, with creating the podcast. So yeah, there's only so many spoons, right? But thanks for tuning in. I'm hoping to get these more regularly out and ready for you bright and early Sundays. But yeah, what else? So, oh, my books are open. I opened up some reading slots for May, and they will probably book up kind of quickly. So, I think there's maybe less than 10 spots left. So, if you're interested in getting a reading with me, I do 60-minute and 90-minute readings, as well as 75-minute birthday year ahead readings. I have like 10 spots left in May. I open my books every month. So if you want to book for June, just hang tight. I'll open those up again in May. But yeah, I'd love to read for you. You can go to kirah.world/book-now. Um, and that will take you to my booking page. You could also just go to kirah.world and there's a big book a reading with me button right at the beginning, right at the top of the page. So yeah, books are open. Um, Also, again, Jove's house, my membership community membership subscription. Um, Jove's house is a really fun place to just come hang. Um, it's a monthly membership, and it is basically we host a reading swap every month, as well as a monthly gathering. So we just did our gathering last week, and it was really fun. I just kind of talk for a bit, talk about the astrology, kind of ask you guys questions about how it's hitting you. And then we go into breakout rooms, smaller groups, and talk further and answer prompts and get to know each other. So it's all of that. Plus, you get access to my private Instagram page at Jove's House, where I do, private live streams and post content just for members. So yeah, you can join at kirah.world/join. It's just $11 a month. And I think it's a really great value. So hit us up. Our next reading swap is going to be Sunday, May 7th. They're always the first Sunday of the month. And then we do gatherings on Thursdays. So I'd love to see you there. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm using a new software, Zencaster. So for recording, oh, this light's kind of intense. But I'm using a new software, and it doesn't allow for like quick screen sharing. So that's going to involve me, putting in these charts and post. Um, but yeah, just so you know, if you do like any of the charts you see aesthetically wise, um, I use Luna astrology software for all of my chart generating, for all my readings, all of that. And if you're interested, I love Luna because it is very aesthetically pleasing and it's also very affordable. So if you're interested in checking out Luna, you can get 10% off with my code for your first year. The code's Kirah, Kirah. You can also just go to the link in my links bio thing, kirah.world/links, and you'll see a link for that as well. Okay, let's get into the astrology of this week, April 16th through the 22nd. Let me pull up my forecast notes. I also have some notes here that I took in my journal. That's my journal sound you hear. The paper's crackling. Okay, so it is currently Sunday, April 16th. The moon's in Pisces. And early this morning, it was at 2 a.m. Pacific, 1:58 Pacific, so 4:58 a.m. Eastern. The moon made a square to Venus in Gemini. Venus is currently in Gemini, being all cute and bubbly. Unfortunately, this Venus in Gemini transit is sort of, if it's the word I'm looking for, it's kind of stunted by this Saturn in Pisces, and I think the moon and Venus are I think Venus is finally finished with its square to Saturn. I don't even know. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that happened Friday morning on the 14th. I'm like, when did that actually happen? So yeah, Venus is finally able to be free and fun in Gemini. Um, and at 10:48 a.m., which is 1:48 Eastern, 1:48 p.m. Eastern, the moon is going to trine Mars in Cancer. So we'll have this moon in Pisces, trine Mars in Cancer, very wet. This could be a very like weepy and emotional time. But it's really good for connecting. This is pretty much happening as I'm recording this. It's good for connecting. It's good for things like bathing and cleansing, even swimming, watching something that might make you cry or just feel really big. This is a good morning for the big conversations. I'm sure there's people out to brunch right now who are just reconnecting with some folks and feeling pretty emotional. And that's what this moon Mars trine and water signs is really good for. It's also really great for creative energy, especially collaborative energy, energy that anything that kind of requires, you know, um, building off of each other's energy. I wrote, it's a really great day for a photo shoot or other creative work. I'm pretty sure I wrote this before I even plan. I'm doing a photo shoot today, actually, right after this. So yeah, it's great for a really fun creative day as well, with this moon in Pisces, trine Mars in Cancer. I think that these water trines are just very fertile. And of course, fertility doesn't have to just speak to our reproductive capacity, but also for our ability to create, to conceive, and to give birth to something. So yeah, all this water energy is really good for that. um, at 4:24 p.m. Pacific, that's 7:24 p.m. Eastern, the moon is going to sextile Mercury in Taurus. So I just kind of keep noting in my brain these moon aspects to Mercury, as Mercury is slowing down to station, and just kind of paying attention, what's coming up around these moon Mercury aspects. So moon in Pisces is going to make a cute little sextile to Mercury in Taurus towards later in the day, later in the afternoon, evening. This is very social. It's a fun social um, connection, but it does highlight something that's coming up about the Mercury retrograde again. And worth it to note, this is when the moon is going to go void in um, our Hellenistic rules, void rules. Hellenistic. I don't, what is the word I'm looking for? Again, I woke up. I just woke up. I apologize. Um, yes. Okay. So the moon's going to go void, and it's going to be void for a while. It's until like late on Monday. And if you follow the Hellenistic void, of course, it's still going to be void all throughout Monday into Tuesday morning. So just so you know, Sunday 4:24 p.m., that's when the moon goes void with that sextile to Mercury in Taurus. And if you're new and you don't know what void means, it essentially, there's a couple different definitions. Um, SP Hall on Twitter just did a really good thread about the three different types of void of courses definitions. There's the modern, there's the, I think, medieval, and the Hellenistic, I guess, way of doing it. I tend to follow the Hellenistic slash kind of a mixture of modern. And essentially what it means is it's a time period where the moon is not making aspects or not making contact to another planet. It's not applying to or, going to make an aspect with another planet for a long time. And so with that, it doesn't always have to be a long time in the Hellenistic rules. It kind of is like that way, but essentially it's a time period where the moon is kind of drifting. It's in a void space. It is not focused. And so I like to recommend things not to do during a void of course. And then there's some things that are great to do during a void of course. So um, what I advise not to do, which I'm like in my head, like, fuck, I'm not going to be able to get my groceries in time. um, but yeah, I don't recommend grocery shopping. I don't recommend spending a lot of money on food during when the moon is void. Of course, the moon rules food and our subsistence. Um, the sort of material substance that we eat, our fuel. And when the moon is void, typically groceries will go bad. If you go spend a lot of money at a restaurant, it's like the food will come out bad or not great, or you have to send things back a couple times. Also, recognizing again, this moon is going void and a sextile to a very slow Mercury that's about to station retrograde. So putting that out there. It's not great for that. It's great for cooking. It's great for doing things that don't really require a ton of focus. So I like to say, obviously resting. Um, Also things like wandering. It's great if you want to take a hike or just want to take a long walk and wander. That's really what the void of course moon is best for, in my opinion. Things like relaxing, finishing up work is great for kind of finishing up work. Um, and yeah, creative work, especially with the moon in Pisces. Avoid moon. It's great for sex. It's really great for having sex and just relaxing, kind of indulging in some pleasures. Again, things that don't really require a lot of focus. Not saying that you should have, unfocused sex. That's not what I'm saying, but yeah, cleaning. That's another. I love a void moon clean sesh, um, that type of thing. Again, what it's not great for, meetings. It's not great for important meetings. I don't like to buy things in general under void moons. You just end up returning them, or it ends up like not being what you expected. That type of thing. So, later on Sunday night, 9:24 p.m. Pacific, that's 12:24 a.m. Eastern, and the next day the moon will sextile Uranus, also in Taurus. Modern. So if you go by the modern void of course rules, the moon would still be not void because with modern they take the outer planet aspects into account. I used to. I no longer do. I just think, you know, the planets being visible is important. And when it comes to something like tracking the void of course moon. So yeah, we can still look at it as a moon Uranus sextile. We can still take into account that, that is something that's happening in the sky. Um, Moon Uranus aspects can be a little bit um, surprising sometimes, but usually it's not anything like too intense, It's not even the squares, I don't know. Sometimes, you'll drop something, um, you'll break a glass or something like that. Some unexpected news or, Moon Uranus aspects can feel a little triggering sometimes too, but this sextile I'm not worried about for anybody. Okay, let's do Monday, April 17th. Um, I just want to say rest in peace, Ozzy, our puppy. He's not a puppy. He passed away at the end of 2021 at close to 18 years old, or maybe close to 19. I forget. But yeah, our dog Ozzy, his birthday is April 17th. So love you up there, Oz. I hope you're watching over us. He was the sweetest little cockapoo, so cute. Okay, so Monday, April 17th. At 11:56 a.m. Pacific, the moon's going to conjoin Neptune. So again, if you're using the modern void of course rules, moon not void yet. I think it would go void with this moon Neptune conjunction around noon on Monday. So already it's a floaty day. Moon Neptune conjunction in Pisces. Um, I already use Mondays as my like rest catch up day. I don't have many meetings. I never do readings on Monday. I mostly use it for working out, like getting my blood drawn, which I have to do every couple weeks, and getting acupuncture. So I would just advise, Monday, if you have any big meetings, just know it's going to be a little drifty, unfocused. If you have the potential, if you're able to reschedule, you might want to. What Monday is really great for, work wise, or like um, brainstorm se- brainstorm sessions, collaboration sessions, things that really require a lot of like dreaming or imagination. Um, yeah, not great for getting a lot of detailed work done. So that's again all day, almost all day, the entire work day. We have moon in just void, drifting through Pisces. Um, really great day to sleep in for those of you who do that, who can, who can. Um, at 6:09 p.m., the moon's going to enter Aries. So 6:09 Pacific, 9:09 p.m. Eastern. Um, this would be the end of the vorticourse if you're using modern. I see. I'm a little bit. I don't know. It's hard for me to decide, honestly. Sometimes I use this as the end of when the moon enters a new sign as the end of the void. And I do feel that way. I've done this for almost a decade. When the moon enters a new sign, it has it begins applying to new planets, and as long as that application's within 10, 13 degrees, I'm typically counting that as the end of the void. But yeah, we're still when we're using Hellenistic terms, which is when the moon finally makes an aspect with another visible planet, we're still hella void. We're still hella in the void all throughout Monday. At 6:41 p.m., the moon's going to sextile Pluto. But again, still hella void. So Monday is another drifty day. Um, and like I said, it's, take the time to relax. I wrote, what about Monday? Rest up, let go, let things be, don't force anything. That's what I wrote about this first couple of days of the week, Sunday and Monday. Yeah, just it's giving like let yourself bob in the ocean waves, like be a little buoy, let yourself just kind of like bob and try to find your center, try to stay centered, but don't be try not to be too invested in making things work, if that makes sense. I'm going to take a sip of my smoothie. Okay, so that's Monday. Tuesday, we got our moon in Aries, Tuesday, April 18th. At 8:46 a.m. Pacific, that's 11:46 a.m. Eastern, the moon will sextile Venus in Gemini. So moon in Aries, sextiling Venus in Gemini. We are no longer in void land. And yeah, we have a cute little moon Venus sextile. I mean, I love, who doesn't love a moon Venus aspect, especially a sextile. I look at sextiles as very helpful energy, supportive. Um, so thinking about Venus, and this is how I do transits at least, thinking about what Venus rules in your chart, those two houses, the Taurus and Libra houses. Um, and these moon, like this moon sextile is sort of like a supportive boost, a little supportive energy to those areas of your life. Um, and yeah, the moon's no longer void at this point. So from this point, the moon in Aries is going to come to square Mars at 3:16 p.m. on Tuesday, at 6:16 Eastern. This is interesting because we have a Moon Mars mutual reception square. I just have a thing for the Moon Mars mutual receptions. This is the square, the moon in Aries. So the moon's in Mars's sign, Mars is in the moon's sign. Moon and Mars are both nocturnal planets. And so they do have some, some similarities, but in each other's signs and squaring each other produces a very interesting energy because neither of them like being in these signs. So terrible, but it's not like, they're not happy. They're not super happy here. Um, but again, they're ruling each other. So there's this sort of understanding, mutual reception, mutual understanding with the two of them, and not necessarily wanting to mess up each other's stuff. um to me, moon in Aries squaring Mars in Cancer, it's giving urgency. It's giving, this is to me like the first responder aspect. When I see this in someone's chart, I'm like, oh, you are someone that is probably really good in a crisis, someone that's really um, just able to kind of spring into action when necessary, especially when I see it in the night chart. Um, but yeah, Tuesday when we have moon, um, this Moon Mars application pretty much all day, just expect some irritation. Honestly, that's typically how this shows up. It's whether it's irritation in your body, upset stomach, itchy skin, inflammation of some sort, or it manifests more externally where you're just like, can't catch a break. Everybody's pissy. You're in a pissy mood, or you're running into people in a pissy mood. It's that type of energy, the Moon Mars square. So prepare for that. Just a little bit of bitchiness, a little bit of pissiness. People kind of popping off and being a little bit, the fuse is short. The fuse is much shorter. I have an Aries moon. So I know what it's like when there's just an impatience to it, and it can kind of snappy, especially because the moon is being ruled by this kind of crabby Mars in Cancer. At 10:24 p.m., the moon is going to conjoin Chiron. And so, yeah, another kind of like ouchy type of day. It's this week. I should have said it at the front. Like, it's a weird. We're in for sometimes this week. It's a doozy. Okay. So yeah, that's Tuesday, the 18th. For work wise, I mean, again, just kind of expect to have a lot of energy, and for that energy to kind of be like short fuse, kind of snappy. But potentially really good for getting some work done for those that need it. Wednesday, April 19th, we have the moon in Aries. It's going to enter Taurus later this day. And also, this is the day of our eclipse, our solar eclipse in Aries at 29 degrees, 50 minutes of Aries. So we're going to talk about that. So at 10:26 a.m., the moon is going to conjoin Jupiter in Aries. We love this. I would say, yeah, between this 12 hours between the moon conjoining Chiron to the moon conjoining Aries, we can get it can be kind of what's the word I'm looking for? There just feels like there's some resolution there overnight, whether, you're able to just maybe watch something that makes you feel good, or talk to someone that kind of helps, digest all the energy of the day on Tuesday. When we get to this moon Jupiter conjunction in the morning on Wednesday, it feels like, a little bit of a better mood. Um, yeah, it feels like the Monday, Tuesday void kind of feels a little bit more resolved by this time. And then, yeah, kind of all day, the moon's just going to be drifting to meet up with the sun in Aries. So that happens later at night. 9:12 p.m. Pacific, so it's 12:12 a.m. the next day on the East Coast. We have our solar eclipse in Aries. This is big because this is the first eclipse in Aries that we've had for about, I'm going to say 9 years. I should have checked. I'm not going to check though, when the last one was, but about 8 or 9 years. And this is going to kick off eclipse season, our spring eclipse season. It's also going to kick off a series of eclipses we have in Aries and Libra over the next year and a half. So throughout um, the rest of 2023 and all of 2024, we'll have Aries, Libra eclipses. So this is interesting. Our eclipse season this spring is we have our Mars ruled eclipses in the spring and our Venus ruled eclipses in the fall. So we get this Aries solar eclipse. We're going to have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio in 2 weeks that closing out that Taurus Scorpio cycle. But this solar eclipse in Aries. So what I'm going to say is one, look at the Aries part of your chart. We've already been getting a lot of action here with Jupiter, with Chiron. We've had a bunch of conjunctions happening here throughout the spring, first with Venus on March 1st. And then we had a Mercury Jupiter conjunction at some point in late March. I think it was the 27th or 28th. We had a Chiron Jupiter conjunction earlier in March as well. And we had our Sun Jupiter conjunction recently on the 11th of April. So, we are done with our conjunctions with Jupiter at this point in Aries, but it's been kind of warming us up, warming this house in our chart, this part of our lives up for the eclipses to come. So, especially with the North Node North Node eclipses, it's the energy of hunger. It's the energy of increase, of, um, you know, pulling towards this part of your life. I kind of think of the North Node as sort of, pulling energy into this area of our lives. Of course, the North Node isn't here yet. It's not going to be here till July 17th. Um, but the eclipse popping off here, we get a little preview. So again, pay attention to that Aries part of your life. We are starting new. Um, we are pulling in new patterning to this part of our lives. I'm certainly excited about it. Especially thinking about the last set of Aries Libra eclipses with the South Node in Aries, North Node in Libra. I'm really hoping that this round kind of helps to rebalance what was started back then, because it was a hell of a time for me, at least. So we get our solar eclipse, kind of overnight for East Coast, but late at night for West Coast. The moon's going to enter Taurus just 20 minutes later, basically 9:29 p.m. The moon will enter Taurus. We have a very short, brief void moon period. Again, depending on who you ask. It's going to enter Taurus, immediately start to square Pluto. It hits its square with Pluto at 10:04 p.m. Pacific. That's Wednesday. It's eclipse time. What I also want to say about eclipses, it's astrologers will often say, stay out of the eclipse light. I'm probably going to try to stay out the eclipse light too. Do a little, it is 420 week as well, so just keep that in mind. But another great thing to do for an eclipse, especially a solar eclipse: salt baths, bathing, any sort of cleansing. I'm probably going to hit the sauna at some point in my gym. Any sort of releasing, cleansing is great for a great protocol for an eclipse. Hawk astrology, Hawk Rub is awesome, and they always have like really good content about what to do with an eclipse. If you're interested in magic, if you're interested in astrology astro magic, divining, doing sort of divinity, deity work, talk to Hawk. They have the best offerings in this regard, and they're just great at helping you get more connected to the divine, to these energies. So, but yeah, Hawk always posts really great stuff around what to do in an eclipse. Bathing is one of my favorite things to offer to people. Um, yeah, and just, taking it easy, resting, that type of thing. Um, yeah. Okay. So, 420, Thursday, April 20th. I just love how Taurus season begins on 420. I love how Earth Day also coincides. I love how the moon's going to be in Taurus this 420 Earth Day as well. So again, the moon's going to enter Taurus overnight, kind of late at night on the 19th, 1:13 a.m. Pacific. The sun's going to enter Taurus. It's 4:13 Eastern. And Taurus season begins. 420 begins. But here's the thing, it's still weird times at this point. So 4:30 a.m. the moon is going to conjoin the north node. That's 7:30 a.m. Eastern. I always say, like, moon north node, we can kind of just overconsume at this point, right? So this looks like to me overconsumption if you're somehow up this early. um that could look like a really big breakfast. It could just be feeling like you can't sleep, you know, literally getting up early, feeling a little agitated or a little wired. That can happen when planets are conjoining the north node, especially the moon. At 4:30 a.m., the moon's going to sextile Saturn in Pisces. Sorry, at 5:30 is what I meant to say. I don't know if I said that. 5:30 Pacific, and then 9:27 a.m., which is 12:27 Eastern. The sun is going to square Pluto. Um, yeah, kind of rough. I mean, we get the moon squaring Pluto the night before, and then the sun's going to square shortly after in the morning. That's kind of the thing about these planets entering Taurus. Jupiter is going to go through it too. Mars is going to go through it when it enters Leo. They run into these hard aspects with Pluto. So just keep that in mind. I'm glad it's kind of happening before my smoke sessions are going to get going for the day. Again, 420, hey. But yeah, we have that sun running into the square with Pluto. So just thinking about, this early Pluto and Aquarius period and everything that's been coming up. I'm not going to even go through it all, but, things like AI, things like, you know, potential war, these just, old president getting indicted, all of these big major moments that have been kind of coming up since Pluto entered Aquarius. The sun coming in and squaring Pluto, it just kind of brings a spotlight to these things, whether, the external versions or the internal versions. Um, but yeah, just wanted to point that out. Also thinking about the house that the sun rules in your chart, and how that is going to be coming up into this square with Pluto. Yeah, that Leo house in your chart is kind of going through it between, Wednesday and Thursday with the solar eclipse, the sun being eclipsed. So that part of your chart, again, that Leo part of your chart, just it's tender and sensitive right now. So just kind of keep that in mind. Um, and yeah, it's running into that square with Pluto in the middle of the day on Thursday, 420. At 9:36 a.m., the moon's gonna sextile Mars. Moon in Taurus sextiling Mars in Cancer. That feels really nice and supportive and good for, again, just being a little bit more productive, a little bit of a pep in your step. Um, what are my notes here? The luminaries are dealing with Pluto and both malefics right after the eclipse. Yeah. So there's a massive change in perception that the eclipse is bringing. and it's kind of a rough digestion process, I think. And that's why I just want everyone to really take it easy this week. Like, really take it easy. I'm trying to follow my own advice, not overdo it in any capacity, because it's going to be really easy to overdo it. It's going to feel really easy to kind of be a little burnt out, or it's easier to get burnt out, I think, with all of this energy happening. So, and then, of course, we're not done yet. Have fun on 420, folks. But again, take it easy. Try not to overdo it. Um, and overnight, we have Mercury stationing. So it's a weird series of events here, right? First, we start with this extremely long void moon, right? Hella void. Then it's going to, and that's Monday. Tuesday, it's still pretty, it sextiles Venus. And then we have square to Mars. It's kind of crunchy. It's going to conjoin Chiron, kind of painful. And then it's going to enter Taurus. It's going to enter Aries. We get a solar eclipse. Then they both move into Taurus, the sun and the moon. They square Pluto. It's just a lot, one after another, one after another. And then once we finally get to Friday, so at 1 a.m. Pacific on Friday, that's 4 a.m., 4:05 a.m. Eastern, the moon is going to conjoin Mercury. Again, paying attention to these moon Mercury aspects, because what happens right after this, Mercury's going to station retrograde. So we get moon conjoining Mercury in Taurus. It goes void. Okay, we have a void moon at this point. Literally 30 minutes later, 1:34 a.m. Pacific, Mercury is going to station retrograde at 15 degrees, 53 minutes of Taurus. So right smack dab in the middle of Taurus, Mercury stations retrograde. And of course, we have this moon sort of like highlighting it, bringing a spotlight to the stationing Mercury. Yeah, this is just so much. If you're traveling during this time, please, please, please give yourself so much extra time for travel. Make sure you triple check everything. Yeah, it's just a lot all at once this week. Yeah, so Mercury's going to station early in the morning on Friday morning. And again, the moon is void pretty much all day Friday. It's going to conjoin Uranus at 5:09 a.m. Pacific. That's 8:09 a.m. Eastern. And it's going to sextile Neptune way later in the day at 8:41 p.m. Eastern, 8:41 p.m. Pacific, 11:41 Eastern. So Friday's another one of those days where it's just, we're in void land. We're also in retrograde land. There's To me, this is room, time to process, to digest, to sort of absorb how everything's hitting you. By everything, I mean the eclipse, Mercury stationing. It's just time to let things kind of wash over you and recognize how they're affecting you. The thing about eclipse season is it warps time in a sense where we feel like everything is urgent. We feel like, I have to do this thing now. Add in Uranus, add in, the sun and moon, the aspecting Uranus, aspecting Pluto. There's a lot of urgency in the air, and it doesn't necessarily mean everything has to be urgent. Okay, that's all I have to say. You don't have to rush. You don't have to. Most of the time, it feels that way, and so try to catch yourself before you rush into things that you don't necessarily need to rush into. So yeah, very, very voidy, loopy, backwards, inside out, upside down Friday. And finally, we get to Saturday, early in the morning at 3:10 a.m. Pacific, 6:10 Eastern. The moon is going to enter Gemini. Shortly after, it's going to trine Pluto at 3:48 a.m. The moon in Gemini will trine Pluto in Aquarius. And we run into Saturn at noon. So 11:59 a.m., 2:59 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna the moon in Gemini is gonna square Saturn. Yeah. And on Sunday the 23rd, we have the moon conjoining Venus pretty early on. So a little bit of resolution after that moon square Saturn on Saturday, but again, it's a very much like a rough digestion time, I think. And so be extra kind to yourself, see what you can do for yourself and for others to help aid in your processing of all these big events happening this week. And yeah, I just feel like, let me see what my notes are. I always write notes. Okay. Work week. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do this. The work week. I wrote, it's stressful. We have these long void moons. We're not getting a lot done. That's the other thing. I think I might have said that earlier, but try to release expectations of like getting a lot done or getting shit done. We're not getting a lot done this week. Yeah, Monday's a wash. I'm reading my notes. Monday is a wash. Tuesday is semi-productive. It's good for early meetings. But it just, yeah, ouch, crabby bitchy with that moon square Mars building most of the day. Earlier on Wednesday, that moon Jupiter conjunction is great. It's the best day outside of the eclipse. So take advantage of that Wednesday. If you really do need to get some work done, I would say that Wednesday morning is the time. If you need to have any meetings, Wednesday morning is the time. If you need to send an important information out, Wednesday morning is the time. Stay out of the sun. Know that the eclipse is coming and beware of rushing. Wednesday night is not cute, is what I wrote with the moon square Pluto. Let's see, 420, Mercury stationing. Yeah, take it easy, have fun with friends, eat good food with that moon in Taurus. And the weekend, we have, let's see, what did I write? Dreamy, drifty, weed hangover. Oh yeah, I wrote Saturday. Okay, so Saturday night, we have this void all day. It's not great for new stuff. It is good for body work, yoga, massages. It's good for food, eating, and it's great for a lazy date. I said this is Friday. I wrote Friday is fine for a lazy date. Again, because I think that's going to be a void time. Everything's void, and so I say it's good for a lazy date. It's not great for a first date. It's not great for, meeting up with someone for the first time. I just don't like void moons for that. If you're already with somebody, if you're already seeing somebody, if you're partnered, if you want to go out to a movie or something like that, it's good for that, just like eating, lounging, chilling, again, like hooking up, having sex, but nothing that's requiring a ton from either of you, is what I'm going to say. Sometimes we just need to be held, right? It's kind of like that. That's kind of the vibe. Let's see. Saturday, rough morning / afternoon. It's slow, but it gets better after the square. And then when the moon starts applying to Venus. So I think Saturday night could actually be a good night. Fun night to go out if you need to kind of shake off the energy of the week. I would say Saturday night is the night to do it. And yeah, just know that we have that moon squaring Saturn during the day. That's exact at around noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. So expect it to feel a little slow, lethargic, maybe even, just kind of sad up until that point. And then, moving into the afternoon, evening, things start to get a little better because the moon's going to be moving to conjoin Venus. And I wonder, we probably won't be able to see it. We might be able to see it around sunset, actually. So look out for that in the sky. Beautiful crescent moon and super bright, gorgeous Venus. But yeah, that's the week for you. That's the week ahead. I yeah, again, I'm just saying, like, prepare to like, if you can, if you're listening to this today, Sunday, get your groceries before the moon goes void. Buy your groceries early Wednesday morning when the moon is in Aries, conjoining Jupiter. Just make sure you have stuff around, stocked up, to kind of like keep you going this week. Um, it's again not the best week to start new things with this intense eclipse and Mercury stationing retrograde. It's more of a just like hold on to your hat and do your best type of week. And I don't say that to scare anyone. I'm not trying to say like, oh, watch out. This is the week. No, I'm just saying like, don't have high expectations for, getting a lot done or, pushing through and doing big things this week. It's just not the energy for it. It's very much an energy of be affected and process. Be affected, process. You don't have to do a lot. Um, you just have to receive and process. And lean on your friends for help and ask your friends if they need help. And yeah, check in with each other. The best way to get through this shit is with your friends, with your loved ones, with some camaraderie. And honestly, that's what I made Jove's house for. That's why I host community spaces in this field. It's because it is so important to be able to talk about what you're moving through with other people who also speak this language of astrology. And yeah, to be able to kind of process and have each other's back throughout this. So, yes. Send in your hashtag astrologer good stories. Send in your Ask Kira questions. I'm going to be releasing our first Ask Kira episode this week. And I will also, yeah, you can just go to kirah.world/ask, ASK, and submit your questions for me and my guests to answer live on the pod. And I also, again, I want to hear your astrologer good stories. Um, hashtag astrologer good stories, meaning, those stories when the transits are just hitting chef's kiss. When you're like, this is just too clear. Astrology is creepy and scary because how was this so accurate? That type of thing. I want to hear them. I want to share them. So submit them. And yeah, I'm working on getting some music for this show, some new music. Um, what else? Yeah, and editing, all of that. We're working on it. Your girl is working on it. All this Taurus stuff is my third house, so I knew that it was gonna, all these Taurus transits are kind of telling me that, brush up on your technical skills, like learn something new, stop trying to, you know, outsource everything that you can't do, Kira, because you can do it. I can do it. I can at least try and we go from there, right? Okay, I have to go. I have to record another podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in with me once again. It's lovely as always. If you can give us a cute little 5-star, if you can rate us, review us on the Apple podcast thing, store. It's not a store. The Apple Podcasts. Yeah, review us on Apple Podcasts. And on YouTube. This is on YouTube as well. Yeah, you guys get the thing. You guys know. Everyone says the same things. I would appreciate it because it really does help people find the show. And I would love to be able to continue offering this show and get supported in doing it. And so in order to do that, I need more people to see it. So you sharing it, you sending it to friends, posting it, all that, it helps so much and I appreciate it. I love doing this. So yeah. All right. Have a great week. We'll tune in again. I'll check in with you again on Sunday and we'll look at the following week ahead. All right, folks. Have a good one. Bye.